That's the laugh of a crazy person, I will tell you.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I think Dana Bash might be turning over a new leaf, especially after JD Vance completely demolished her on live TV, completely embarrassed her. I think she might be turning over a new leaf because she had some interesting things to say about Kamala Harris today. Shout out to everybody watching. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. And let's get into a little recap. We remember when JD Vance and Dana Bash had their confrontation on live TV.
Because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Here it comes.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said, but I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on the other hand. Now, let me just fact check a couple of other things that you said, Dana, because it's important. You said that all of these migrants are in the country legally. They're in the country through what's called temporary protective status.
Right.
That is when Kamala Harris waved a magic amnesty wand, taking people and giving them legal status. That is not to say that they're here legally. That is a terrible indictment of her amnesty policies that have further opened the border and further caused terrible migration into this country.
You might not agree with the policy, and obviously you don't, which is totally fair and legitimate. There are policy disagreements all the time, but the fact is that it is the law because President Biden and Vice President Harris are. But I don't want to frankly go down this conversation about policy,
Dana, because you made a point. You don't. I agree. You don't want to talk about policy.
No,
Dana,
what I want to talk about
instead of about the fact,
Senator, it was your distraction.
Dana, granted amnesty.
You were the one who started talking about eating dogs and cats.
Level.
You were the one who brought this
my
up. The president said it to 60 million people.
Cats, and I talked about it because you were ignoring this community. My constituents talked about it.
Have you been
to
Springfield?
It's my responsibility to surface their concerns when the American media.
Have you been to Springfield?
Dana, I've been to Springfield probably 100 times in my life.
How about
I've taken
recently,
my children
since
to
you've
get
heard
ice
this?
cream at Young's Jersey Dairy.
Have you heard recently since you've gotten these calls?
Have I been in the last 4 days?
No, I'm talking
about
about
the last 4 days, but I've
since
talked
you've
to a lot
gotten
of
these
people
calls
in
from the
Springfield,
constituents.
Dana, and they're telling me this stuff is happening. Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy.
JD absolutely torches her. And here's the thing. Dana Bash was on her show today, Inside Politics on CNN. And here's the funny thing, because it appears like maybe she clearly sees through the bullcrap regarding the Harrison Walz campaign, if you were to call it that, whatever it is. But here's what Dana Bash had to say, interestingly enough, today on Inside Politics.
When you listen to Kamala Harris and what she will do, you can almost start a drinking game every time she says small businesses. Let me give you an example.
Part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again, that when people have the opportunity to have the resources to get started, they're going to put the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it.
Describe the politics of that.
When she says that, she also talks about being a middle-class kid. That's also at the front of her answers. If you look at the interviews they've been doing with local media, and they've opened up a bit more since the debate, the first question is often, what are you going to do to lower prices? Which is a very hard question for an incumbent party to answer. And it has implications that are very Trumpian. It is, Trump says he's going to do mass deportation. That'll decrease demand. Trump says he'll explore more energy. That'll decrease energy costs. Democrats can point to the fact that inflation is actually, it was bad 2 years ago. It's not now. What people want to hear is, how do you make the prices go down? So everything she says is something realistic that could survive a fact check that answers a very hard question. There is not a plan to say that we're going to lower the cost of your grocery bill to what it was in 2019. There was a pandemic. There was a money supply inflation. You can't hit the button that makes that go away. But Trump has an answer that gets him through these questions. And Harris, I think, with a different set of incentives and a different relationship to something she can back up in a policy paper, she doesn't have an answer. So she goes to a larger, well, imagine a future where there are more businesses and this starts to ameliorate.
She does. She absolutely does. She goes to this story about, oh, you know, I was raised a middle-class kid. So next time that I get pulled over by the police, hopefully, which will not be anytime soon, knock on wood, and they ask, hey, do you know why I pulled you over? I'm going to say, you know, I was raised by a middle-class family. I was raised as a middle-class kid. We'll see how far along that gets me along that journey. But Dana Bash, I don't know. She might be turning a new leaf, or CNN is like, yo, ABC is losing a bunch of ratings because that debauched, rigged debate and the whistleblower affidavit coming out. So, you know, maybe CNN's like, hey, we don't want to lose ratings like that. I believe ABC lost $27 million in advertisement that was pulled from ABC over the course of the last week or so, a week and a half since the debate. So very, very interesting. And here's the other thing. Kamala Harris was at the Hispanic caucus today. And you wouldn't believe this, guys. You absolutely would not believe this. But guess what she introduced today? She introduced a brand new accent. Brand new. This is brand new, asterisk. It is a new accent, and it is completely laughable.
I love you back.
What is she? Who is she? Shakira? Oh, I love you back. Like what?
I love you back.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Here's a funny meme of that.
I love you back.
Oh man. Meanwhile, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, says the massive influx of illegal immigrants under Kamala Harris has raised unemployment rates. This is what he said during his presser today regarding potential rate cuts.
Been quite an influx across the borders, and that has actually been one of the things that's allowed unemployment rate to rise.
Boom, there we go. JD Vance says the big reason I want Kamala Harris to do more interviews. I think it is absolute comedy as well. Thank you guys so much for watching that previous video where I hosted the entire video of just her word salad. Is just a big bowl of word salad with your favorite dressing on top. But JD Vance says this on the campaign trail.
And I want Kamala Harris to do more interviews is because there's so much comic relief in it. I really do believe that every time she answers a question, we gain about 100,000 votes. So I do selfishly wish that Kamala Harris would give more interviews to the North Carolina media, because then I think this state wouldn't even be close come November. And I don't know if you've seen, my friends, some of these interviews that she gives, but they'll say, well, Kamala, give us your specific plan. What is your exact plan for how you're going to lower the grocery, food, and housing prices for American citizens? And she'll say, well, did you know I grew up in a middle-class family?
Oh, man. Here's some more, JD.
I would love for some of our reporters to ask Kamala Harris about some of these policies and why she did all the things that she did, and now she's running away from them. She has flip-flopped on literally every single proposal that she ran on in 2020. Now she says she doesn't believe. I mean, she practically is at this point where she could walk into this room right now, and she could steal one of your red hats, sir, and put it on and say, "Make America Great Again," because Kamala Harris is practically just running on the Trump agenda right now. But as much as she's running on the Trump agenda, she has been in office for 3.5 years, and she hasn't done a damn thing about it. Kamala Harris, stop talking about what you will do. Start talking about what you have done, and the answer is not a damn thing.
I like JD Vance. I really do. He gives it to him like it is, especially on these leftist bias networks. And yeah, anytime Kamala Harris is in an interview, it's just a big bowl of word salad. And it is incredibly frustrating that more individuals do not see that it is just puppeteering at its finest. That's just what it is. I appreciate Dana Bash calling it out on CNN today. Let me know what you guys think about this entire scenario. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. Share, subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.